There are two types of English proficiency tests. The test of English as foreign language TOEFL, which is American version, and there is test which is a British version, International English Language Testing System, IELTS. Which exam should you take if you decided to take one of these two exams? Which one is easier if there is the easy part between the two exams? Which one you are likely to get good results between the two? I'm asking those questions because those are very valid questions and the people want to know before they decide to go and pay and prepare to take one of those two exams. I said one is a British version, one is American version. But it doesn't mean that you take the British version if you want to go to study in England or in the United Kingdom in general. No. You can take that exam and go to study anywhere. These two exams are the most widely accepted in the world because they are the one determining your English proficiency test. But there are a few things I want to point out. Number one, both exams are measuring the same thing. They are measuring English proficiency test. It is not about the English intelligence test. No, it is English proficiency test. Meaning, it doesn't care if you are high school. It doesn't matter if you are in junior high school or if you're in primary school. If you decide to take that exam, the same exam, someone with a bachelor's degree will take the same exam. Someone with a master's degree wants to go to do PhD will take the same exam. They are not separating the two. They are the same level of proficiency. They are going to test 4 areas, both of them: English writing, reading, listening, and speaking. So there is no difference in terms of the composition of the test and what are they going to measure. There is no difference into how the exam is marked, because in the end, it's a proficiency. As I've been saying, if they ask you the question, do you want to live in rural area or in urban area? Like that type of essays or those type of debates we used to have in secondary school, they don't care. What are your points? Are your points strong enough to convince them that rural area is better than urban area or urban area is better than rural area? They don't care what point you are going to put there. What they care is about how are you going to start your essay going down. I'm going to do blah, 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 blah. My first reason is, my second reason is they want to see how do you arrange your essay. If you are using my first, second, are you using the word firstly, second, or there are 5 reasons. Reason number 1 is this one. Reason number 2, what study do you use? That's what they're going to look at. Then they're going to look about how are you going to use those kind of punctuation marks. How are you going to use the preposition? How are you going to use what we call concord, verb subject agreement? So for instance, if you say, I will, because it will be the future. You cannot say, I will come yesterday. It will be, I will come tomorrow, or I will come later. So those you see, they are going to look up. So if you say, I will come yesterday, no matter what education you have, it is grammatical wrong when it comes to the tense. If you say, they was, instead they are or they were, it's wrong. So they don't care what you are going to do. So that is something I want you to understand. They are not going to look about, so don't complicate to overthink yourself. Just go basic, and they are not looking about the difficulty vocabulary you are going to use to think that you know English. English is just like your normal native language. It's just the communication from one person to another. So both exams, they are going to do the same thing. What makes the difference? These differences will make one person choose one exam over the other. Despite the fact that they measure 4 aspects, in the British version, International English Language Testing System, where if you want to do that, you have to go to do with the British Council in your own country, that exam, on the speaking portion of it, you will be speaking with a human being. You are talking to a human being. But in the TOEFL, Test of English as a Foreign Language, you'll be talking to the computer. They give you the question, you have 30 seconds or 25 seconds to prepare, and boom, you have to talk. You wear your headphone all the time, as a microphone, you are started going to talk. So, if I were in that situation to choose, I would, in this particular reason only, I will choose to take the test where I will talk to a human being versus talking to a person, to talk with a computer. Because if you're talking to a human being, it is easy someone to understand you. The person who is talking to you already lives in your own country. Yes, is a British person, but understand the accent, understand some of the terminologies, will be easier to go along and remark appropriately according to you living in that particular country. But with the TOEFL, you are going to take the test and talk to a computer, and a person maybe in New York is going to mark the speaking portion of it. That's something. And sometimes maybe the headphone, microphone was not properly plugged. Maybe someone cannot be able to hear you well. So to avoid all those complications, if I have the opportunity to choose and I pay my own money, I'll go with the British version. That's number 1 reason. The number 2 reason why I would prefer to go to take the British version, not because it is easy, no, it's because the nature of their marking or the score. In the International English Language Testing System, IELTS, the owners of the test, the British as a government or the country or the institutions, they make sure that majority of the exams or the majority of the universities or institutions, when you're requiring the score, they say majority of them, if you get a 6.5 and above, you are likely to get to meet it, you passed. There is no pass or fail, but 99% of all universities or all scholarships will require you to pass for 6.5 score as average, but not to go less than maybe 6 in each section, which is easy to obtain in that particular sense. But you might wonder, okay, so they make out of 10. So if you get a 6.5 out of 10, you are likely to go even in Stanford, Harvard, whatever, because that's what they say our criteria is. If you get a 6.5 and above, you can get admitted to any university. But when it comes to the TOEFL, Test of English as Foreign Language for American version, it is marked out of 120. Each section is 30. So writing, reading, listening, speaking, each section is 30. But there is no agreement that if you get maybe 65 or 70, you'll be able to get admitted to this school. So each university or each department sometimes have their own standards or score they require. So you can get 75 and be excited. This is very good. UCLA, University of California at Los Angeles, will say, we'll take the 65. Harvard will say, we want 110. But within Harvard, let's say, if you apply Harvard Law School, they will say you want 110, but maybe Department of the Harvard Public Administration, they will say we'll take maybe 105. So even within the university, they can put marks or score whatever they want depending on the competition and how much they want to rule out some people. So to avoid that, I have good score, maybe 85, and still I can get in one university and another university doesn't want me because I have low scores. But if I take the English proficiency, the proficiency of the British version, if I get 6.5, still Harvard will accept that. But 90, maybe they might not accept. So that's why I'll go with the British version, because the honors, they say if you get 6.5, 7, whatever, you can go anywhere. You have more chances with the British version versus American version. That is another reason. But out of these reasons, these are the same exams. Another last part which I would prefer to go to do the British version, especially if if you are applying to America, because in the United States, universities don't want the test of English language, the TOEFL exam, to be sent by you, the scores. They want the owners of the test, ETS, Education Testing Services, to send that test. And in order for them to send the TOEFL exam to them, to the school you are going to apply, you have to pay $17. So for the cost-wise, you'll be paying extra money for each certificate copy to be sent to the center. But if you're applying to Europe, you take the TOEFL, there's no problem. They take the test you have, because you get the copy of it. You can scan it and send it to universities in Europe. They will accept that one. They don't care whether it comes from you or from the owners of the test. So this is strict if you want to apply in America. If you take the British version, you have that test, you can use the same copy, and there will be no problem to get extra one. But all in all, still, if you are able to pass the English for the British version, you will be able to pass it for the American version. Everything, like the mechanics of it, preparation is more or less the same. So there is not easy part, but there is advantage into the score, where to be accepted, and just the minimum is a pass score for the British one. But also on the aspect of speaking, British version has advantage of it. Out of that, they are the same exams. As long as you prepare, you can be able to pass the same way into either of these two exams. The biggest thing, make sure you prepare yourself very well and be ready to pass the test. That's what I can simply say. Don't assume because I studied English or I studied English as my major, or because I have a degree or I have master's, is a guarantee I'll be able to pass. No. I studied in Swahili. I know Swahili, but it doesn't mean that if I get the test in Swahili, I'll get 100. No. If you take even the British or Americans, put them in the test, they are not going to get 100%. No. So those are the few things I want to point out for you to make the determination or the decision on which exam you're going to take and why you need to take one of those exams. And the last thing, that exam expires after 2 years. So if you take the exam, make sure you use the test to apply. Make sure you use the test to apply as many possible to the universities and the scholarships, so that after 2 years you already have the scholarship. Because if you don't get, you have to retake the new test. So that's all about the English proficiency test.